Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News with me, Katira King. There isn't a soul that can deny how fabulous African print looks. It adds colour and brings vibrancy to outfits, whether paired with Western fabrics or worn alone. The African print in reference, also called Ankara, dates back to the colonization of the Indonesians by the Dutch in the 1800s, which was made with the sole aim of flooding the markets with cheap machine-made batik imitations. Ankara has become a means of identification for Africans. And British-American fashion designer Stella McCartney seemingly couldn't resist the use of it for the debut of her Spring-Summer 2018 ready-to-wear collection, showcased at the recently concluded Paris Fashion Week. Since showing, Stella has been accused of cultural appropriation while using only one model of African descent. Outraged fans took to social media in their droves, with some people left irked that the London-based designer didn't give appropriate credits to African designers. Others were bemused that designs worn by their ancestors were being elevated to high fashion. Nevertheless, Stella McCartney's line continues to raise eyebrows for her collection, and she's yet to make any comments regarding the controversial patterns. So today on Our Take, we ask, when does inspiration become appropriation? And I'm joined by the two delectable divas, one of fashion, one of film, to discuss. Guys, what is cultural appropriation? Let's start there. What do you think it is, Kiki?
Okay.
Kiki, I don't know which Kiki you're talking to.
Myself right now, you start, Kiki.
Uh-oh, the designer is already incensed. Let's start with you.
Well, you are the designer. Maybe we should have your take.
Let's start with somebody.
Okay, well, truth be told, I think maybe cultural appropriation means when people feel like somebody is trying to take advantage of maybe like a culture that doesn't really belong to them, maybe a culture they don't really understand, you know, trying to turn it into some kind of fashion thing. But I don't understand why people are getting really upset about this.
Okay, since you don't understand, let's take a look at one of her outfits, because Kiki Kamanu is enraged, and I feel your anger, darling. Let's take a look at the first outfit. So, this is from Stella McCartney, daughter of Paul McCartney from the Beatles, who was born in Liverpool, England. Why, oh why, is her dress made of Ankara? That is our fabric. That is cultural appropriation. Kiki Kamanu, you got something to say. Say it, girl.
Can I answer it? Okay. What's wrong with Stella using Ankara?
What do you mean?
What's wrong with Stella using silk?
Well,
what's wrong with Stella using leather?
There's nothing wrong with
leather is on a cow. She should not kill cows. Oh, silk was from worms. Don't kill a worm. Oh, it's from Thailand. Oh, cotton is from... It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Personally, I love a print. I love batik. It's stunning. And the fact that she's using it, I don't see what the argument is. One, it's beautiful. Two, it's fabric. Yes, it's obviously inspired by Africa and printed in Holland. As I was originally done by the Indonesians, I believe.
Yep.
In the same vein, someone from South Africa should only, or from Kenya, should only use mudcloth to design? No.
Let's not generalize as though you're Caucasian. Come on, you live on the continent. We are very well aware that Kenyans do not wear mudcloths. You know, this is a news station, so let's make sure that we're distributing facts and not fiction. So what we're saying here, the argument is on social media that this lady, this fashion designer, has appropriated culture without giving due credit. That is the issue that social media users have. Not that she has used Ankara fabric, but that they were not duly credited. Furthermore, please go on, Kiki Manu. Okay,
now
go
I
on.
understand, because I initially didn't understand what the fuss was. I think it's beautiful.
Right.
I mean, I would so rock that. So if
I mean,
you're saying,
I would too.
Yeah,
but I love Ankara, and I'm Nigerian.
It's beautiful. Yeah, because Ankara is colorful. It's beautiful. You know, Ankara has changed from what it used to be. It used to be known as some kind of cheap cloth and all that, but right now, I mean, everybody rocks Ankara and we rock it proudly. You know, so if the issue is that she did not give credit, then I understand.
And that is why they're saying that social media uses a saying that this has moved from, it's deviated from inspiration to appropriation. You're becoming a culture vulture when you do not credit the people who have inspired you. Let's take a look at the second outfit, because the second argument was that This woman has created designs that have been rocked by our mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers for eons. Tell me you haven't seen Granny in the kitchen making stew in that same dress.
Yeah, my mom actually has something.
Exactly. Now do you understand where these people are coming from, Kiki?
Definitely, she ought to have said, yes, my new collection was designed by me, but it was inspired by my trip to blah, blah, Mozambique.
Exactly.
Yes, she ought to have done that. And ideally, it's best to use, to have a multiracial cast on the runway.
Yes.
Absolutely, no matter what.
Exactly.
No matter what, okay? But some people are saying she ought not to have used Ankara in the first place, and that I don't agree with.
I can understand your point, because I don't agree with that either, because like you said, very correctly stated, as Africans, do we not wear cotton? Do we not wear silk? Do we not wear leather? Do we not wear any of these other fabrics? And that's fine. And I totally understand where you're coming from in terms of the inspiration, because some social media users, it's not everybody that's saying she's wrong. Some people have said that, you know, these outreach people should get a grip, that everyone takes inspiration from somewhere.
Yes.
Now, let's take a look at the third outfit so we can see if we agree with the naysayers. Come on, guys, that is a boo-boo. That is just a boo-boo.
Okay,
you didn't design it, you just put fabric on a woman.
Okay, that is an on-trend dress, off-shoulder. It's on trend.
I mean...
Kiki, let me be honest.
What?
You know the previous design, when you were saying, oh, she designed it, I'm thinking to myself, no,
You
she
didn't design it. Exactly.
Like
at this point,
the pattern of the dress.
at this point, you haven't even created the silhouette.
Exactly, because
Everybody in Africa has worn this for centuries.
Yes.
There is no shape or structure to this dress. That is how we like our clothes, because of the heat.
But this is on trend in white and black. Off-shoulder is what is in now.
Yes.
She took what she used probably last season and just used a different Ankara fabric, which happens to be Ankara inspired. Inspired fabric.
My point is that this particular style, there's nothing different
It's not a
about
style.
it. It's not. I mean, it's just like the normal thing that we wear all the time. Yeah.
Just an
So why would you say she designed
It's
it?
an off-shoulder dress.
Exactly. And if we're talking about being on trend, I mean, the off-shoulder trend was so last season, darling. Very passé. Let's take a look at the fourth outfit. Do we have the fourth outfit? There we go.
That's stunning.
So this one, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm actually very obsessed with. What do we think of this design?
That's absolutely stunning. I love the sleeves.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
So we know that Twitter was abuzz with comments from angry men and women who were disappointed to see that Stella had used Ankara prints in her African-inspired show, but she had just one African model on the runway. So you have people representing this culture who aren't from it at all. And you, the fashion designer, you are equally not from that culture. Is it still acceptable?
I don't see a problem with someone who's not from culture X wearing something from culture X. That's not a problem. But I still maintain that ideally it's on every runway, and it's been an issue in Paris and Milan and New York for years. Every show should have a multi-ethnic cast.
Yes.
Why not? Because that represents who we are right now.
Yes.
As clients and consumers. And different sizes as well, but that's another conversation. So she ought to have had more people of color, more Asians, more Latinos, more whatever. Not just plain vanilla.
Absolutely. So let's look at the argument from the other side now, which is the fact that Ankara is not actually made in Nigeria. It's not necessarily a Nigerian fabric. So are we the ones that culturally appropriated the Dutch and the Indonesians?
There you go.
So yeah,
There you go. Now we have another conversation.
Be here all
We have another conversation. Can I have some more coffee, please? We'll be here a while.
Well, let's start the conversation and I'll tell you when we can end it. So what do we think about that side of the argument? The fact that Dutch wax is Dutch.
It's stamped at the bottom of every yard. See, it goes to a conversation where 20 years ago, a fabric actually was printed here in Nigeria. But because of what was going on in the economy, most of the mills shut down.
Right.
But
they were still Dutch-owned, if we're talking about Vlisco and the Ankara wax.
No, not
prints.
Vlisco, actually.
Okay, not Vlisco.
There was Nimtex and Aswani, so many others, actually. And
Eswani is Indian heritage.
Exactly.
So we're looking for Nigerian owned,
But
which
printed,
didn't exist.
it has
They
not
have never
existed.
existed, exactly.
But printed here, yes, and designed here, but owned by non-Nigerians, which is a whole nother conversation. We have so many coffee.
But it's really just a question of production, right? Because the designs are African, they're
Inspired.
Nigerian.
Are-
Yeah.
African
Are
inspired,
they,
Yeah, so
are
it's-
they actually African inspired?
Inspired,
Because
some of them are.
batik is Indonesian.
That is Indonesian,
So-
but it's not all batik.
Okay.
It's not all batik.
Teach us, oh wise, fashionable one.
know,
We're
right?
here to
It's
learn.
better than we do.
A batik uses lots of darker colors like browns and purples and blacks.
Right.
And as you can see with the Vliscos and the Akosambos, it's filled with color.
So that is
those
what
are
makes
not
it
really
African.
batik.
I
Yeah.
see.
You can say, yeah. And many of what we do use in Africa it is batik inspired. But at the same time, a batik is a layman's terms, a sort of tie-dye. It isn't, but it is. But different conversations. I haven't got my
Kiki
coffee.
has about 27 conversations that she wants to have right now.
I've got to come back on the show. That's what it means. I have to come
Not
back.
just have you as a regular. So if we look at Dutch wax and we look at Ankara and we look at this fabric and the fabric that you have on the trim of your dress, I think to call it even Nigerian or African or Dutch is to ignore a whole completely wider set of origins that you have at play. So we've already spoken about Indonesia. There's so many other Asian countries that are represented within the production of this fabric. Why do we feel as though it is ours? I know we lay claim to everything. We lay claim to
Like Michael
jollof.
Jackson
We didn't start jollof, guys. It came from Senegal. But why are we so incensed about Cinema McCartney using this fabric on her runway?
I'm not sure. I believe the main reason why we as Africans claim the fabric as ours. Oh, and the name Ankara is actually from Turkey because a part of it actually was printed in Turkey.
Are you kidding
In the
me?
Ankara
the
region.
capital, exactly.
It came from Turkey?
Yes.
It's a region.
I didn't even know that. Like, I had no
It's
idea.
the
I didn't know
capital.
that.
Exactly, it's Ankara. And the Dutch made it primarily for the African market because they realized about 200 years ago maybe that we appreciated and felt more comfortable.
They didn't even make it for us, girl. They didn't even make it for us.
No.
Wait, so
we appreciated
we didn't
brighter
even
colors.
design?
No, we
No,
didn't.
no.
That's the point.
No, and a lot of it is printed, yes, in Europe, but also in China. And the Chinese are competing with the Vlisco design, and it's why Vlisco changes their patterns every 3 or 4 months.
Right.
Because the Chinese always come in and flood the market with a cheaper alternative, which looks exactly like it. I actually
Imitation
met
print.
with Vlisco, and they told me this. It's like, wow. But we claim it because they saw a market here, and they rolled with it. It's business, and it's all in the marketing. As you said, batik is not really from here. You know, but it's here because the Dutch said, hey, this is for you, take it, love it, enjoy it.
And we were like, okay.
They were like, yeah, we love it, it's ours, it's only ours.
Can I just say, I have
Let's hear from the other Kiki.
I have learned a lot from her today because
the point of the morning show, darling.
Yeah, honestly, because prior to now, I had no idea that they actually made it for us. I mean, I was
the point
under.
of having conversations like this because not everybody knows the origins of Dutch
Yeah,
wax.
I mean, I was under the impression that it was our design, but they just
And
produced
it's actually
it.
interesting. I met a Dutchwoman. I was in Holland recently. I met a Dutch designer who uses just Vlisco. And it's hard for her to get a market in Amsterdam to buy her clothes.
Of course, because we
she's
say they don't
100% Dutch.
Yes.
Okay, but
because
she
that's not really-
loves Vlisco and uses it exclusively, but it's hard for her to get a market.
Yeah, because that's not really their
Even
style. That's not really what
in
they're about.
Holland, you see the Vlisco adverts. They used to sometimes use Dutch models before they faced backlash because everyone assumed Vlisco was African. And they were like, hey guys, hang on a moment. You're not our only market. We serve the world. So in summation, if we're to talk about, inspiration versus appropriation and use the Stella McCartney runway show as the basis of or the genesis of this conversation, what would be the take home? What is your take on this?
I would say that honestly, I have no issues with her using it, especially now that I know
you know her details
of the material. But like we said, yeah, just give the credit to who the credit is
So who
due.
does the credit deserve to belong to? Or does the credit belong to?
Exactly. So maybe just credit all of us. Yeah, the Dutch, the African, you know,
It's funny,
everybody.
A few years ago, Oscar de la Renta had a similar a collection with of African-inspired fabric, and he received the same backlash because he did not give credit to Africa. And it was obvious. It was stunning.
Don't even get me started on the Louis Vuitton Ghana Must Go bag. That retail for £3,000. I could buy you the same bag for 150 naira in the market, guys. Hit me up if you want it.
You know, but I forgot what I was saying.
Oscar de la Renta and his African-inspired fabrics.
And I don't recall, I don't think he actually made a comment on it publicly. I could be wrong, check Google. And all the talk helped him to increase his sales.
Look at that.
Stella McCartney is going to make $1 billion more
Look at that.
because of what's going on right now on social media. Good for her. It's a business move.
So what you're saying in totality...
What was I talking to you about in the green room before
What
we
were we
came on
saying?
set? We're talking about the same thing, and we had no idea that this
So
was
what
going
we're
to come up
saying
on
right
the
now
show.
is the fact that controversy sells.
It does.
Right?
It will sell.
It definitely does.
And good for her.
It definitely
She's
does.
a businesswoman.
It definitely does.
Good for her. Do it.
So next we're looking for controversy from the Kiki Kamanu line.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Can you tell I had fun? Thanks once again to my phenomenally fashionable guests, Kiki Kamanu and Kiki Omeili, for joining me, Katira King. And of course, thanks to you at home for watching. From my entire team and I here in Lagos, all that's left for me to say is enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.